of teen books. I'm Miss Amanda, and this is Teen Book Talk, your video vlog where we're going to talk about teen books based on a certain genre or theme. Enjoy! Hey everyone, welcome to episode 1 of Teen Book Talk. Today's theme is 7 books I feel you should not miss. These are books that I have read at least twice or plan on reading a second time, if I've read them recently for the first time. First up is P.S. I Like You. This is a story about a girl named Lily who one day writes a song lyric on her desk in class. The next day somebody has added to the song lyrics. This starts a series of letter exchanging between Lily and her unknown pen pal. This book is someone that I read and actually recently listened to, and I just absolutely love it. This is my favorite of the author's books, and I've read almost all of hers. What I love about this book is that it's a little expected, but also a little unexpected, and the characters are just super awesome. Maybe I'm selling it a little too much, but hey, that is how much I love this book. While I don't recommend writing on a desk in class, this book will make you wish you want to. So you can find out who Lily's secret admirer is and what happens by reading P.S. I Like You. Next up, To All the Boys I've Loved Before. This is the first in the Lara Jean Covey trilogy. You may have seen the Netflix movie that this book is based on, but the book is equally as good, if not better. So Lara Jean Covey has written letters to all the boys she's had crushes on, but never sent them. One of the recipients also happens to be her sister's boyfriend. When her letters mysteriously get sent, it causes some trouble, but one of the recipients, Peter Kavinsky, and her start a fake relationship to throw off her letter sent to Josh, her sister's boyfriend. Find out what happens to Lara Jean and see what happens with her and Peter in this book, and follow it up with the 2 other books. I've read the whole trilogy once, I've listened to the trilogy, and I love it. Lara Jean's an interesting character. The story of Lara Jean and Peter in the first book especially is just so cute. The supporting characters are awesome. I mean, Lara Jean's little sister, her dad, they're just great characters as well. So this is a book series you should not miss, really. Next up, The Other Side of Lost. No joke, I devoured this book in a day. So far I've only read it once, but I do plan on reading it again. So it's the story of Mari, which I think that's how you pronounce her name. My apologies if it's wrong. Well, anyway, she lives this life on social media, but her life on social media is fake, with a capital F. She and her cousin, who she happens to share a birthday with, had once had plans to hike this trail, but her cousin passed away. Her aunt ends up sending the cousin's hiking supplies to Mari, which also coincides with Mari's quitting social media. She decides to take the supplies and hike the trail in her cousin's honor. This is a story about growing up and finding oneself, and it's just truly wonderful. It almost made me want to go hiking myself, but I don't think I have the stamina. At least not yet. So, this book is one you should really pick up. For you fantasy fans, I recommend The Cruel Prince. This is the first in a planned trilogy. The second book is out, and I am anxiously awaiting book 3. So basically, Jude Duarte was just your average girl living life with her parents and her sisters, one of which is her twin, when this mysterious guy shows up, claiming to be her oldest sister's actual father and her mother's first husband, and he kind of kills her parents and takes the girls back to the land of Fairy. Yes, that's right, Fairy. So now, time has passed, Jude has grown up in this world, and longs to be a knight in the court. But things, of course, are not simple in the High Court of Fairy, and Jude has found herself in the middle of it. So I found this book, really, drags you in the beginning, and then was a little slow, but then, picks up, and I was just I need to know what happens. And then it ended, and I was like, I need the second book. And then, so I had actually listened to this the first time around, and it's a great audiobook. I do recommend it. And then I reread it, both for Yakety Snackety, which is the book discussion I do at the library, and because the second book was coming out. And I enjoyed it just as much, if not more, the second time. So I highly recommend it if you are a fan of fantasy or looking to get into fantasy. Really, if you want to wait until the third book comes out, you can do that, but you should read it. Alright, next we have One of Us is Lying. 5 kids go into detention, only 4 come out alive. So this has been described as The Breakfast Club meets Pretty Little Liars, I believe it was. But, yeah, so the 4 kids who come out of detention are all suspects in the murder of Simon. Simon was the school loner, but he also ran a popular gossip blog. And the 4 people he was in detention with were all subjects of posts that he was going to schedule soon. So they all have motive. So this is a really interesting book because you kind of don't know who it is. And it's like along the way you can kind of be like, well, I don't think it's this person or I don't think it's this one. But who is it? And so it's a great mystery. I highly recommend it. So next we have Sadie. This is another book where I originally did the audio, but then I reread the book because it is just fabulous. It's an amazing audiobook as well. If you wanted to get into audiobooks, I highly recommend this be on your list of books to try. So the book is told in 2 different parts. There's Sadie's narrative, who is a teenage girl, and she is on a mission to find and kill her sister's killer. Then there's Wes, who runs a podcast, and he is tasked with finding Sadie and bringing her home. So the story alternates between Sadie's narration of finding the killer and Wes' journey of meeting people and trying to find Sadie. And it's just super, super interesting. I had no idea where this was going. I really did not. I love listening to the audio because it's like you're listening to a real podcast during Wes chapters. And yeah, the characters are a mix of ones you like, ones you don't like. You'll feel for Sadie's surrogate grandmother as she's looking for her. It's just, there are so many words I can use and so little time in this video. But it's just, it's fabulous. I highly, highly recommend it as either a read and or an audiobook. Okay, so last but certainly not least, Dear Martin. I read this book last year and I plan on reading it again this year, and then I kind of want to make this a book that I read probably not every year, but maybe every other year. So it's about a guy named Justice, and he is a black student in a predominantly white school. And his best friend is also black, but he is on the wealthy side of black, while Justice is not. Doesn't mean he's living on the streets, but he doesn't come from a high-income family. So the book starts with Justice going to help his on-again, off-again girlfriend who is black but passes as white. And these cops think that he's taking advantage of her because she's drunk and try to arrest him. So this kind of shakes him up. And in order to process everything, he decides to write letters to Martin Luther King Jr. And this book just really tackles racism in a wonderful way. I am an adult and I learned something from this book. There's this whole section where they talk about affirmative action, and I always felt like, I don't really see the point in affirmative action. Why does race and ethnicity matter when going to college? Like, why can't it just be based on everything else? And then I read this and I was like, oh, that's why we need it. That is why it's still important today. And why we can't just get rid of, like, race and ethnicity. So, Justice is an intriguing character. The other characters in this book you'll either love to hate. It's really an important read. I really feel like this book should be required reading in school. I really do. And it's just one book you really can't miss. whether you're a teenager or you're an adult, you need to read this book. The message in this book is just great. Thanks for watching this episode of Teen Book Talk. For reviews of these books and many more, be sure to check out our teen blog at libraryteentalk.blogspot.com. You can also check out the library website at uniondalelibrary.org, where you can access a link to the blog. You can also stop in the library anytime for book recommendations. See you next time!